Hello everyone, welcome to the Cyber Weekly. The Cyber Weekly is a podcast which talks about cybersecurity with me, Deogratius, Okello, Josephine, Olok, and Angella Nabbanja. In this week's episode, we will be doing the second part of last week's episode. So with Julius Wakoli. So let's dive in. Yes. We've had a lot of cases concerning human trafficking, and can you describe the forensics, how forensics can help with investigating such situations of human trafficking?
How forensics can help cases such as human trafficking. The processes and procedures of a digital forensic examination actually follow almost the same thing. Maybe one thing I didn't actually put at the beginning of this is the field of IT, the field of cybersecurity, the field of digital forensics are kind of interwoven. They're intertwined. For you to be a very good forensic practitioner, you should be able to have good fundamentals in your IT, information security, information systems. How are you going to be able to investigate data that is stored on a hard drive if you don't actually understand how the hard drive actually stores this data? Okay, so you should have those fundamental skills for you to be able to do that. So these domains, these spaces, much as people are dividing them, someone will say, me, I'm into the mainstream IT, another me, I'm into network security, another one will tell me I'm into maybe information security, and then here will come a Julius who will tell me I'm a forensics expert. But you're not a forensics expert before you are an IT professional. You must actually have the fundamentals. You must know how networks operate. You must know how a computer actually works for you to be able to understand some of those gimmicks. Yes, human trafficking is on the rise. But many times, some of these cases are pulled off by very, very seasoned professionals. I'm using the word professionals. I don't know if it's professionals, but the bad guys. They're pulled off by the bad guys, and we've seen the advent of the dark web. The people actually who are using the dark web in trying to they're using it as a conduit for some of these cases like human trafficking, cases like child pornography, illegal trading of secrets just into the dark web. Like I say, digital forensics follows the same procedure, even if you're investigating a fraud case. Of course, a few things will change, but the ultimate goal is you're going to be extracting and analyzing digital evidence, which is picked from, say, maybe of the networks, of the computers of the perpetrators or the suspects, their smartphones, the different online platforms. These all can reveal a pattern of communications, including even the financial transactions. We, as digital forensic practitioners, don't work in isolation. So we have a number of stakeholders whom you actually have to work with. So for you to be able to understand the different financial transactions, of course, with cryptocurrency and blockchain, you realize that many of these high-end cases like human trafficking, people use more of the cryptocurrency and blockchain. So having that knowledge, having the knowledge on how to investigate this gives you an edge. It gives you kind of an additional skill for you to be able to pick out the digital footprints of some of these human trafficking activities, because many of them actually trade their secrets either on the dark web or through the use of the different wallets of the different blockchains and cryptocurrency applications. And then maybe the other thing also, like I said, we don't work in silos. So we have to also incorporate in the issue of document examinations. People who are able to analyze different passports, cover records, employment contracts, uncovering so many discrepancies or maybe void documents. And so, because many of these human trafficking cases, usually someone has to either forge someone's travel document, someone's PII, personal identifying information, for them to be able to maybe beat the borders and then cross over the other side. So having to collaborate with the different stakeholders gives us an edge on investigating this. So yeah, and then maybe also just partial evidence, where you look at the evidence in someone's movements. You, of course, I know for many people they will always try to hide the activity log. They'll disable that, but Locard's principle of exchange states that for every at every scene that you will always leave something. At everything you come into something, you come into crime scene with something, and then you leave with something. There's always that exchange of data. So even if your location history is off, you may be in maybe a location somewhere, and then you make a call. So as you make that call, it is actually communicating to a certain base station transmitter, which can actually be collaborated with, maybe your CDR records, and they're able to actually tell that perhaps this guy was in such and such a place at such and such an area. And then the other final thing is, of course, which I also hinted on, is financial transactions. Of course, looking into the bank transactions of these suspected human traffickers, their bank records, are they laundering money? Activities such as those. Okay, so it is a collaboration effort, not just with law enforcement, not only with law enforcement, but with all other agencies in trying to curb such cases.
Thank you for that answer. Are there any? I know you've obviously worked on a lot of cases. Is there any that stand out for you? You don't have to take us through the detail, but just anything that stood out for you and what you really learned from that case.
The reason I'm laughing is the way you mentioned it, that I don't have to mention any specifics, but wow. How do I even answer this? Without having to give specifics. I've had quite a number of memorable cases that I've worked on. I don't think I'm able to pick one, but many of them have been interesting and memorable. But each of these cases actually comes with its own challenges, and many of them are learning experiences. I've been in the digital forensic space. I think this should be the 8th year. Yeah, around the 8th year. But I'll tell you for a fact that for all the places I've been to, the scenes I've been to, banks, fintechs, businesses, all those organizations actually usually have different devices, different technological complexities, and things like that. So they provide you a platform to learn. You're ever researching. So this has actually contributed to a number of things that I've actually done, because I do read a lot. I do read a lot, and that keeps me afloat of so many things, trying to come up with maybe possible solutions to maybe what I've identified. You'll find maybe company ABC have maybe Juniper, and then you go to company XYZ, they have maybe a Sophos file. You go to company MNO, they have maybe a Cisco device. You go to another company, they have different sets of devices. So you cannot actually have all this knowledge as you're investigating. So some of these places they're going to be learning experiences for you. So as you're investigating, you're learning. So you end up actually adding onto what you have. While I can't share specific details due to confidentiality, many of these cases, of course, have provided valuable lessons for me. Like I said, each have their own dynamics. And the more I investigate these cases, I find myself continuously adapting and learning new methodologies to effectively navigate the complexities of these devices, some of them which are presented by maybe malware techniques, virtualization. Wow. Most companies are moving away from the on-premise setups, data center setups. So many of them actually are getting into the space of virtualization. So if you're this kind of digital forensic practitioner who was waiting for a PC in your laboratory for you to image and examine, then you're going to lose it out. So how are you able to pick out this information that is in the virtual space? How are you able to, for example, if it's a VMware solution, if it's Azure, if it is any of those cloud-based solutions, cloud-based virtual machines, how are you going to preserve this evidence, extract that evidence, image that virtual machine off the cloud, and then be able to process that evidence? Are you going to just pick the VDMK file? Are you going to maybe install maybe a portable version of FTK for you to be able to maybe create an image? Because this is a virtual machine. You're not going to use, you're not going to attach or install maybe something onto that virtual machine for you. The normal way actually you would have done. There's no hard drive that you're going to pick. So how you going to actually pick that plays a great role into what you're doing. So yes, the memorable things actually, the memorable case I can't actually specify, but believe you me, I've learned a lot. 90% of the organization right now actually have embedded or what we call API integrations. So you'll find company ABC maybe has a different aggregator, but they access maybe their wallets or their digital platforms maybe through an API. But maintaining that API, how are they going to maintain it? How are they going to ensure that the API keys that are within maybe a specific wallet, say if it is stored maybe with Amazon or Azure, maybe you have your bucket where you keep your API keys. How are you going to ensure that that API document and the API keys are safe? So all those have been learning experiences for me, and they are memorable for me to be able to understand the different SIM solutions that are there, Darktrace, be able to Symantec. There's so many solutions for you to be able to piece all that information. It has been memorable for me, and I can't maybe underscore that more than I have already.
Yeah, thank you for that answer. Angela?
What are the biggest trends you are seeing in computer, mobile, information, and cybercrime in Uganda? And what are the solutions that are being implemented to address these?
The biggest trends we're seeing in cyber, computer, mobile, cybercrime, information, and what are the solutions? There's been a growing number of cyber attacks. That is evident even in the just recently released crimes report. So there's so many, and most of these attack financial institutions, businesses, aggregators, fintechs. Dale mentioned that Josephine works with the fintech, but I know she will actually attest to that fact. Most of the fintechs actually are getting attacked so much because of that aggregation service, including government institutions, which some of which have been defaced, not just government institutions, but we've had cases where most of the government websites, most of the government installations have actually had have been attacked by these cyber perpetrators. Some of which include malware attacks. Look at phishing schemes; these are on the rise. We have the clickbaits. We have people who are so surprised to actually maybe win money for which competition they did actually get themselves into. We have so many actually phishing links that are extended through these social platforms that we are on, where someone actually, without even verifying the authenticity of a particular maybe bit.ly link, they just simply click on it, and before you know it, the account has been taken over. I've had so many people whose accounts have been taken over, and of course, some you're able to recover, and some you're unable to. Maybe I didn't get to mention I did some little bit of ethical hacking. I also have done computer hacking forensic investigator. I have that certification with EC Council. So I have been able to recover some accounts for some of my peers whose accounts have been taken over. And for mobile-based cases, you mentioned the biggest trends. For mobile-based, of course, we have so many people who are complaining about what we call the SIM swap, where maybe your phone actually gets lost, and before you know it, your SIM card has actually been swapped, and they're receiving OTPs and getting into your account before you go to maybe a service center to report that case. All your money is cleaned out. Okay. Those are very common. We have mobile banking frauds. We have a lot of SMS phishing. I've already hinted on it, where you have people who receive SMSs, and because they've not been enlightened about the dangers of just clicking on different links, they end up actually giving out so much. The other was, I think, information and cybercrime. Okay, of course, the emergency of the new technologies, the technological advancement, it comes with a lot of challenges. I've already talked about virtualization. I've already talked about the API aggregation services. I've talked about cloud computing, Internet of Things, digital payment channels. Yeah. You'll find a person, even when they're not using a particular channel on their phone. For example, I could have maybe mobile banking, but I don't use even mobile banking. Oftentimes, I'm using maybe internet banking. So why would you have an application that you don't use? It means at some point, you're not even going to update it. And the moment you don't update a particular tool, it creates a vulnerability which someone actually can exploit and maybe get access to your system, to your phone, to your computer. Many of us download applications, even some we don't even know. There are so many cases where even a person who has some little bit of cybersecurity knowledge or IT knowledge may actually fall prey to. For example, drive-by attacks. You don't need even it's where someone just creates a fictitious website, and then maybe you're searching for something, and then you just simply click on a website. In the background, that action of clicking a run is creating or installing a malware within your system. So you could actually have a payload or a backdoor within your system that you don't even know exists. So if you're not conscious about your computer, I normally actually tell my peers that it's very important to have some basic scanning skill for your PC. For example, I never close my task manager, because the task manager is one tool on your Windows system after that tells you everything what is actually happening on your PC. Because every process that runs, every application that runs, be it malware, be it a normal application, that's a process. Now that process should actually be within your task manager. So on a daily, I'm scanning through the different processes to see which process could be malicious. Okay. So with my experience, of course, I'm able to tell the difference between the legitimate and the suspicious processes. There are those processes that are able to even hook themselves on legitimate processes, what we call process hallowing. So malware could actually hook itself on an actual Word document, on an actual PowerPoint presentation that you have, and then it's using that PowerPoint application as maybe what we call a conduit, or it piggybacks itself on that normal process. So in trying to look through the processes in Task Manager, you can identify those suspicious tools, and Google is a wealth of information. So once you identify a process that you don't understand, just get it there and then Google it. If that is not enough, then you can even put it in there's so many malware sandboxed environment like VirusTotal, Hybrid Analysis, anyone.me, and GeoSandbox, very many that actually can tell you that this particular application or this particular process that is running on your PC is malicious. Okay. What are the solutions that are being implemented? Of course, I keep seeing, I watch TV sometimes, not all the time, especially news. But there's this segment that runs, I think, on NBS, Better Steady. Okay, so it's one way of alerting the populace about the likelihood that someone actually can take over your gadget, be it your PC, be it your phone, with just a small maybe code that they're calling you about. They tell you, press this, press that, press that. So these cybersecurity awareness training and campaigns that the government is actually running with other maybe sister agencies and maybe these stakeholders, the NBSs in the private sector, they're actually helping a great deal in trying to enlighten the community about the dangers of some of these actions that they do on their in their digital space. And then enhanced cybersecurity policies and regulations. Policies are living documents, and these documents must be updated over time. And they must be adhered to by everyone within an organization. Okay, so enhancing some of these security policies actually creates some kind of security hygiene for your organization, because if I have maybe a policy like password, a password policy, a device, mobile device policy, how do you use your device when you're on the internet? I mean, when you're in the organization, I could have password policy where it specify the complexities. Sometimes actually the system can be able to enforce that complexity for you without you having to, because some systems actually, they tell you a minimum of 14 characters. Without that, you won't be able to create a password. So some of those enhanced cybersecurity policies can go a long way in addressing some of these issues. And then capacity building and collaboration. Many organizations, including law enforcement, are organizing different workshops, trainings. Some of the staff undertaking certifications, and they're also collaborating with different international partners. We normally have some workshops that we attend and things like that. So you exchange ideas, you collaborate with maybe the bigger international space out there. Some organizations, of course, will tell you regulate, not other organizations, but there should be a regulation for there have been actually regulations for most of these mobile and digital payments. that have been implemented by most of these organizations. Some of them have to tell they inform their customers, their stakeholders on how multi-factor authentication probably is important, implementing a multi-factor authentication. I've realized that most of the people whose accounts actually are taken over, they don't have that multi-factor authentication. Before actually someone actually takes over your WhatsApp account, they would have actually maybe social engineered you and probably realized that your account does not have a two-factor authentication. Because for someone to be able to install a WhatsApp application on a new device, they should have that 6-digit a number. Maybe it could be 727-244. So if someone actually called you and told you, hey, Julius, maybe onboarding you on a certain certification program, so within just a few seconds, you'll be receiving a 6-digit number, which you'll actually read out to me. So if you're too naive, you will be able to give out that, and within just a split second, you just see your account gone, and then you start wondering, how did it happen? So you start thinking that the hacker is a very sharp man, but they have only compromised your psyche, because it's just as easy. That is something someone actually can do. But if your cyber hygiene is very good and you let go of some of the things, I think we shall live in a minimum space, a digital space that has minimum a smaller threat landscape for that matter.
Yes, thank you, Julius, for that. And mostly with the password hygiene and management, last week we discussed in the cybersecurity review with the Patch Tuesday, we discovered that some of the ways that attackers take advantage of people's accounts are also through open authorization authentication. How the hackers would just, how we are so lazy, we have only one password for everything, and then we can continue with Google, continue with Facebook. But what happens if, like, your Facebook account has been compromised? So people should be vigilant with using password managers and not having one password for everything. Really, it's not that difficult to just keep safe on the internet.
Actually, that is a very good point, Angela. One big problem with us the people is the issue of password reuse. You mentioned someone actually having one password for a couple of applications because they are not. They may think that it is very hard to keep maintaining a separate password for a different application. But again, that poses a very big challenge. Like you said, there are people actually who have, of course, single sign-ons. That is a. But again, if you're reusing passwords for every different applications, actually, someone actually could re-engineer you, social re-engineer you as well. Because if I know that Julius is using maybe he has a Facebook account, he has a Twitter account, he has maybe an internet banking account, and I know that he's incapable of setting up different passwords for all different applications, I could actually ask. I could actually pretend and tell them, you know what, I forgot my if maybe we are students, maybe at a university, I could tell them I forgot my learning management system password. Could you help me with yours, such that I go through the notes? So just because you think this is a learning management system, you end up giving out their password, your password. But at the back of your mind, you don't remember that this is the same password that you're using for your Facebook account, for your Twitter account. So it becomes so easier for someone actually to try out this password that you've given them to maybe log into your different account. All I need is maybe your username. And then some of us are into a habit of just incrementing 1 or 2 numbers. So if maybe my password this month is password at 123, next month it will be 1234, the other month it will be maybe 123 something. Okay, so I could actually try out a couple of things until maybe I break into. And then you talked about password managers. Password managers are a very good tool for us all to have, because one thing about them is that they don't allow for password reuse. So as soon as actually you create your password manager, you'll definitely have to create your master password. In there, you put all your applications and then with corresponding password. It will not allow you actually to reuse that same password for the different applications. I think I would rather, I use Dashlane as a password manager. I subscribe for it. And that, because I have over 30 applications that I use. I can't say that I can remember all the passwords, but at least I remember about 20 or something. But some of them, some applications, of course, I may have to come up with a completely new password, because I don't want to risk my other applications getting hacked into. Yes, password managers are very good. I would rather have a password manager than not having it, because people have issues with password managers, because they think having a password manager, you're giving out your password maybe to the third party, the owner of that application, which is wrong. These are password managers actually have what we call an encryption technology. The moment you create that master password and you put that master password for your vault, and then you put all these passwords in there, it encrypts that entire information within that vault, such that even the creator of that particular application cannot be able actually to see what's in there, because all they're seeing is gibberish. Because the master password, upon putting it on, it will encrypt each and everything within that vault. Yes, it is a very, very bad idea to actually reuse the same password for different applications. I do not, and I usually preach that out whenever I go out there for different seminars, different workshops, and maybe with my peers as well.
Thank you for that. Also, I use a password manager, Bitwarden. So yeah, it's one I enjoy using. So so we definitely have a lot of certifications, and how do you usually stay current with the trends? Because you actually hinted on it concerning because you are dealing with multiple organizations, so you get to learn different technologies along the way. Apart from that, is there any other way you usually stay current?
Thank you for noticing my certification on the LinkedIn profile. I don't remember.
I counted. There were over 10.
Over 10.
Wow.
I've never seen that many. I've never seen that many on anyone's profile before.
Yeah, true. Thank you. This space is a very interesting space. And staying current in a field as dynamic as cybersecurity and digital forensics is indeed crucial for delivering effective solutions and staying ahead of the emerging threats. So one way I stay current with the different within the space or within this field is continuous learning. Albert Einstein, I usually quote this for people. Albert Einstein saying that once you stop reading, you start dying. I don't want to die yet. So I actively seek out these different opportunities to deepen my knowledge through webinars. I attend workshops. I look out for those free courses. There's so many free courses. LinkedIn is awash with a lot of literature, especially when it comes to cybersecurity and digital forensics. People are willing to give out so much. Okay, YouTube is a plethora of. It's a host to a plethora of so many, a lot of knowledge that you can put. You can type in anything in YouTube and you'll find it, anything. And the bit about it is that you have to try it out on yourself. For example, if I wanted to know how to create a backdoor, I'll just type it in and I'll get so many different people trying to do that. And within just 10 minutes, I'm able to do that. because as a digital forensic practitioner, for you to be able to investigate a malware-related case or unauthorized access or hacking incident, you need to understand actually how a hacker operates. You need to put yourself in their shoes. They created this backdoor. How was it actually? How were they using this backdoor to exfiltrate data back to themselves? So if you don't have that knowledge, you won't be able actually to understand that. You need to know which ports does maybe do Trojans actually create sockets back to the command and control center. So having that continuous learning effect actually, I think has created a very good platform for me to be able to stay afloat. And then there are a number of CTFs I normally engage into, like the Cyber Talents. Cyber Talents is a very good CTF for cybersecurity and digital forensic community. It has a wealth of information. They give you data sets which you're able to investigate. I've participated in the Africa Digital Forensic Challenge, CTF, which is usually organized by the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, UNODC. They usually have CTFs every year, but it's for all Africans. So you come up with your team, and then we register, and then they'll give you data sets which you'll compete, and then the next year they will actually come up with a walkthrough for how those questions were supposed to have been answered. I think the first one I attended was 2021, and I think I missed. They usually recognize the top 10. Unfortunately, I was, I think, number 12 out of over 100 teams, and my team was a solo.
Oh.
So I was actually alone. So the other groups actually many. So I would find myself actually running out of time to pick out all the information. I participated in 2022, and then last year, I'm still waiting for the one of this year. I don't know if I will be able to do that. And then there are also what we call CTFs on Hack the Box. I usually encourage people to sign up for these CTFs. They're free. They're free, and they'll give you, the bit about them is that they give you a data set, and then they will even give you walkthroughs after the CTF is done. Oxygen Forensics also releases CTFs annually. Belkasoft, one of theirs, I think, has just ended. So they also have CTFs. Those capture the flag competitions actually have greatly and immensely contributed maybe to the person that I am. And then the other thing is hands-on experience. If you're doing if you're doing these CTFs, you're definitely harnessing hands-on experience. You're learning on how to investigate a case, because they're going to give you a complete case. I remember the one of the African Digital Forensic Challenge in 2021. I were given a data set to investigate a cryptocurrency and blockchain kind of case, where actually someone actually submitted data over the digital wallets. Those are crypto wallets. And I got to learn a lot of things in there, much as I didn't get so much data, but I learned some basics that actually helped me now to be able to look into the blockchain and cryptocurrency investigations. If you were to ask me how to trace route maybe a transaction, a cryptocurrency transaction, I can't be able to look into it up to a certain level, much as those transactions are encrypted, but you can't be able to see some information, the date of transactions, where that transaction, the recipient wallet of that particular transaction. And then the other thing is networking and collaborations. Networking is very important. I do subscribe to ISC Squared, and I'm also a member of the EC Council. I subscribe to it. I wanted actually to subscribe to the ISACA. I haven't just gotten time yet, but I should be able to do that. So these communities actually have people with a wealth of information, and as you keep networking with them, you get to learn. You cannot have everything. You cannot have everything. Every day should be a learning process for you. Even if you're very good investigator, even if you're very good at cybersecurity, there is that point where you will feel that there is something that you're missing. And the one thing I love most about this space is the fact that I get to meet new challenges. Every case has its own new challenges. Every case. That is 100%. Even if they call me right now and told me, hi, Julius, there's a fintech company that has been hacked into. We need you to do this. I'll know this is an opportunity for me to learn. Of course, there's some that you go there and then you find legacy systems, but over and above, many of them have actually embraced new systems. Of course, you get into some organizations that have very good devices, very good systems, very good logical security devices, but they have not been well configured. Okay, someone can have a very good firewall, but the rules are not working. Okay, it's not filtering your traffic. You have a very good IDS, but it's not even alerting you. You have a very good SIM, but the logs are not being stored. So when an incident happens, where is a forensic examiner or a forensic practitioner going to start from? You don't have all this, and many of them, of course, they're intentional. You could have an inside job. Someone decides, okay, fine, I know if someone is trying to ping into my network, the file is going to keep reporting maybe ICMP flags. I'll go into that. I see so many ping requests. No, okay, fine. Someone is trying maybe to either find out if my server is available, or maybe see if they can actually use that server to get into my network and things like that. So you should also be able to be adaptable as technology advances or evolves rapidly. Staying current requires you to have that adaptability mindset. It's not because, as we all know, that Windows actually is reaching its end of life next year. So what does that mean? It means most organizations actually will have to take on Windows 11. There's people who have refused intentionally to upgrade to Windows 11 because they don't find it. They find Windows 10 still conducive for them. But that means once that end of life reaches, it means they won't be able to support it with the necessary securities, and definitely it will have vulnerabilities, just like Windows 7, Windows XP, much as some organizations still use them. So being able to adapt to the different technology as it evolves. So you should be able to have that mindset. Yeah.
Thank you for that answer. You kept referencing CTF. What does that stand for?
CTF is capture the flag.
The flag. Okay. I googled it. I didn't think that was the correct thing. I just wanted you to confirm.
Oh yeah. And usually many CTFs actually are free, and they are just communities actually that help us to especially if you want to practice your pen testing skills, your vulnerability assessment skills, your audit skills. The great place to start is a CTF. If you don't want, because there are some, of course, I used to have a lab at my home where I have a few computers that have connected, and I can simulate maybe some environments. I create maybe, I have a Metasploitable tool, which is an intentional left vulnerable system, which I can be able to practice on how I can identify vulnerability on that system and be able to exploit that vulnerability. And then after exploiting that vulnerability, what are the post-exploitation activities that I can do? Maybe I can send files there. I can steal files from that PC. I can actually cause that machine actually to behave the way I want it to behave. I can actually deposit maybe malware in the startup folder, or I tweak one of the registry hives for the user init file, which actually is responsible for establishing all your network connections and ensuring that the user's space is ready for use. I tweak it such that I create persistence. It means that when your PC starts, you don't even need to double click on that payload or that malware. It automatically starts, and I will have the reverse shell behind, and I should be able to access that PC without your. So that is the aim of that is actually the ultimate target for every hacker, because they want to create that level of persistence. Because not all the time that they're going to send you a file on your email, maybe social engineering is through a phishing link. They'll send you a link, you click on it, and maybe malware is installed, and they'll have maybe a terminal or a shell on the other side for them to access. But now, having done that, how do you create that persistence? Go into maybe the startup folder of your PC. I don't know how many of us actually do that. I normally tell my people, once in a while, go and check what is in your startup folder, and ensure to even unhide. You see, Microsoft and Windows has a way of protecting some system files. There's files that are protected for your own good, in that if you deleted them, because most of those system protected files are hidden files. Actually, when you unhide them, when you go to the Windows bar and you go to options and then unhide them, they will appear blurry. Okay, and then some people think, oh, this could be a virus, but those are hidden files, and they're hidden for a reason, because if you delete them, it could create some inconsistency in the operation of your PC. But what usually happens is, and what I've actually seen in some of the cases I've investigated, someone will create a malware code, and then they'll put it in your startup folder, and then they will actually give it hidden attributes, in that even when you open that startup folder, you won't be able to see it because it's hidden. Now, you'll have to go to the Windows taskbar, and then you go to options and then hide, for you to be able to see which applications have that hidden attribute. So the startup folder is a very, very important folder that every person actually should check. And then maybe the other file is the hosts file in the etc folder for your Windows. Because if I were to create, say maybe a backdoor, my IP address would actually be in your hosts file. So I don't know if many of us actually do that, but that host file has an IP address and a domain. So if you go into that host file, of course, those default, they're usually about 2 or 3 IP addresses, which are default. But if you find more than 2 of those, then you try to find out where exactly that IP address or that domain is leading your information to.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Deo and I are both members of ISACA, so we look forward to you coming on board.
Sure, thank you.
I, as we wind up, I know you've probably answered this question in a number of ways, but we're looking for, if somebody wants to, is interested in a career in digital forensics. I know you're keeping current, you train, you need to have the right attitude. What other skills and qualities would you say are necessary to be successful in the field?
Skills necessary to be successful in the field of cybersecurity and data forensics.
Skills and qualities, yeah.
Skills and qualities. Of course, one of the biggest tenets you should have is honesty. You should be honest. You should be a person of integrity. Integrity and honesty. Those are the two topmost. And yes, this field is so demanding, and you're going to also require strong analytical skills. Remember, you're working with a lot of data. You have a lot of information. So how are you able to analyze this information and make that 10, 20, 30, 50-page report that speaks to all that information. So your analytical skills must be good, and you must also have critical thinking abilities for you to be able to pick out that information that speaks to that case. Because at the end of the day, your evidence must actually meet the 5 characteristics of dictative evidence: believable, accurate, authentic, admissible, and reliable. So you should be able to explain this evidence in a way that it is believable to the jury. So, because at the end of the day, you're giving an opinion on a matter that maybe the judge or the jury may not be accustomed to, or may not be aware. So your role is to educate them. So if you're going to go there and start speaking your technical gymnastics, it may not actually help you, because you need to write your report in a very easy to understand and layman's language. And then I can't emphasize a commitment to continuous learning any further. So that has to, I think, come in handy, because at the end of the day, you have to continue reading. You have to continue reading. You have to continue staying afloat with the ever-changing technology advancements, the threat, cyber ecosystem, then also the skills. Okay, certifications are good to have, because at the end of the day, they are going to give you a bonus when you go to court. Because at the end of the day, they are going to ask you what actually qualifies you to stand in that dock. Then you'll start, I did a bachelor's in commerce. Wow. So that will be. So if that's all you have, and where do you pick your experience to come and adduce that evidence to court? So you must actually, the certificates are good to have, but also.
How long does it take you to say what certifications you have?
How long did it take me?
Does it take you to say them when you're in court?
Actually, I've got that. In most cases, of course, you'll just mention your formal education. I have a master's in this, and then when you start, I am CHFI, I'm this and this. The judge will just say, no, that's enough.
Okay, yes, because they don't understand also.
Because now you start telling them, I'm a computer hacking forensic investigator. Now they start thinking, again, hacking. Many of them actually, before, they didn't know that even in hacking, we have what we call the white hat hackers. The people actually who are doing the ethical hacking.
The blue team.
The blue team. Because for you to be able to investigate, you should actually think like the hacker. Okay. Yes. That's why most organizations now they're setting up blue teams and red teams. Some of them are even having gray teams, and then they simulate those, because a prepared organization actually will at least have some chance of trying to mitigate some of the issues or some of the vulnerabilities that they will have actually checked. Most of the problems I find with some organizations, especially those into the cybersecurity and information security, those entrusted with ensuring that PII information is protected at all costs, is you get to ask them, when was the last time you did a vulnerability assessment? When was the last time you did a penetration test? They'll tell you, that was 3 years ago. And then you're like, oh God. So if you don't even know how vulnerable you are, then what are you protecting yourself from? So you're going to have to continuously do that. I usually advise at least do them quarterly, 3 months, 4 months. You do a vulnerability test, because this should be part of the package that you're giving out as a job description for someone who is coming into your organization. Because usually you have that JD laid out for someone, and okay, you should be able to conduct pen tests, you should be able to conduct vulnerability assessments and all that. So over time, and maybe after 3 months, they should be able to check too. Because security is not absolute. It's a process. Okay, there is no such thing as for us, we patched all our vulnerabilities, because you have so many applications. You have users who are not following the policies. You have people who don't understand some of these cybersecurity issues. So you're going to have some of these issues which can be exploited by the adversaries. So it's very, very important to conduct those vulnerability assessments, especially if you're a company that deals with PII, because at the end of the day, you're going to, in the event that maybe PII, personal identifying information, that is out there, then you could actually be charged, because according to the Data Privacy and Protection Act, you should actually be able to provide some level of protection and control measures for the information that you collect from the data users for your systems. So those are some of the skills and maybe qualities that we talked about that for someone who is thinking of joining of the field, you should actually, honesty, I value honesty so much, and integrity, they should actually come up on top.
Thank you for the answer. Over to you, Angela.
Thank you so much for your time. It has been a very engaging session. Do you have any parting shots for our audience?
Parting shots. Wow. Parting shots. Okay. Maybe I'll leave with a few quotes from some of the security guys out there. John Chambers usually says there are only two types of organizations. I think many of us have actually heard about that. There are only two types of organizations: those that have been hacked and those that don't know yet. Okay? Only two. So those that have been hacked and those that don't know yet. So it's always better to always prepare for incident response. Okay? You'll always know that at some point you're vulnerable to something, even if you have the most updated softwares, most updated technological gear. You conducted all these trainings, but there will always be that that percentage of error that can actually cause someone to get into your system. And the other is I keep forgetting, is it Norbert something? He said that security isn't something that you buy. Okay, it is something that you do, and it takes talented people to do it right. So staying vigilant and staying updated with the cybersecurity space, within the cybersecurity space. Vigilance is basically the cornerstone of cybersecurity. So if you have if you have a good inventory management system for you, every device that's actually connected on your network, if you have complete visibility over your network and systems, maybe through network management systems, you could have deployed your SNMP traps. You could be having maybe a packet sniffing tool. Incidentally, people think Wireshark is only used by adversaries. Wireshark is a tool that you can use to have visibility over your network, because at the end of the day, you need to know what kind of traffic is actually entering into your network and leaving your network. So if you're using a packet sniffing tool, some books call it a protocol analyzer, like Wireshark, you should be able to have that visibility. You look at all the traffic that is getting into there, including malformed traffic, those traffic that has malware. So Wireshark should be able to dissect that for you. And then the other very strong point I usually want to end with is investing in education. Josephine said, I have so many certifications, but it's only, of all those certifications, I think it's only one which has been sponsored. But the rest, it's my own initiative. It's having that desire, having that interest in what you're doing. Invest yourself, because at the end of the day, it pays off. Education is key. We've been told this from when we were growing up. So it's also key in combating cybercrime. So if you have engaged yourself in the cyberspace more, and you have garnered all these certifications, because these certifications, actually, every certification that you do has something it increases on your technical skill set and knowledge on how to approach some of the incidents that you have on a day-to-day basis. And then maybe finally, collaboration. Cybersecurity is not a one-man show. It is it's a collective effort. So you don't have to say, me, I'm the expert, me, I work alone. No. You have to share knowledge, you have to share resources, and the best practices in safeguarding your the digital ecosystem. And it is something that you can also learn from others, just as they learn from you as well. So those would be actually my parting shots. Investing in education, collaboration is key, and also always prepare for incidents. Always. That's why it's always good to have what I call contingency planning. So once you have a contingency planning, and that contingency planning is basically a plan actually that helps you respond to incidents as they happen. It has about 3 components: IRP, incident response planning; it has disaster recovery planning. How are you able to activate a disaster recovery plan in the event that disaster has befallen? And then finally, the business continuity plan. So in you trying to resolve this disaster, this issue that has happened, you should be able to maintain the critical processes or the core business processes within the organizations as you're maybe resolving whatever scenario that has befallen you. So I think those would be my parting shots. And I'm very, very happy to have been part of this podcast. Thank you, Deo, for extending the invitation. Thank you, Angela, for the questions, and thank you, Joseph. I hope to meet some of you one day. I've met Deo. I don't know if he told you anything, but maybe I'll leave that between me and him. He should be able to explain that to you.
He told us everything was good, so don't worry. Thank you, Julius. It's been an honor having you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. It's been a real honor. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to sneak in one question, by the way, which is 3 tools you would recommend for someone who is beginning to start digital forensics.
3 tools?
Yeah.
Oh, 3 tools. Wow. One of the tools I normally have on my toolkit is FTK. Very, very handy. FTK is a very good tool. It's used to create. You asked me 3 tools for digital forensics, not cybersecurity.
Yeah.
FTK is a very good tool. Why don't I give you 10? Because
3 is too small.
Let me actually list for you, because some of these tools, many of them are not free, but I'm going to mention for you the ones that are free. I think 5, and then I'll also mention the other 5 which are proprietary, but if you can, but of course, like I said, they're very costly. The first tool, FTK. FTK Imager is a very good tool that you can use to image computers, not phones. You can use it to image both a live system. You can use it to image a dead system. A dead system is one that has been shut down by removing the hard drive and attaching it to a write blocker, and then you attach it to a forensic PC. Then the other tool is maybe, okay, they're 3 in 1. You could use Belkasoft RAM capture. You can use dump it, D-U-M-P-T, D-U-M-P-I-T. And then FTK Imager as well has a component of imaging your RAM. Because like I said, the first thing that you do as a forensic investigator, when you arrive at a scene and you find a computer that is on, you're going to collect RAM. So FTK Imager can be used to correct RAM. It can also be used to create forensic images. And then the images that you've created, what tools are you going to analyze them with. The open source tool that you can use that is available is Autopsy. Autopsy. I think the current version should be around 4.3 something. Autopsy. Of course, that is the free tool, but the rest, there's another very interesting tool called OS Forensics. It has, until I think last year, it was a free tool, but they commercialized it. It's a very good tool. You can download it. They'll give you a 30 days trial, but it's a very, very interesting tool when you use it. So those can be used for analysis. Of course, the other are proprietary like NCASE, FTK, Magnet Axiom, Belkasoft, and others. Mobile Edit, Oxygen Forensics, Celebrite is for phones, Physical Analyzer, and then UFED Touch. Those are all for phones. And then Volatility is a tool that you can use to analyze RAM images that you've captured. If you've collected RAM from a PC, you can use Volatility, you can use Redline, and for you to be able to pick out the different artifacts from that image, RAM image that you've collected, because it can actually help you, especially if you're conducting what we call a triage. Maybe you don't want to spend so much time. Maybe you don't have to spend a lot of time maybe analyzing a whole image. As you're doing that, you can actually do what we call a triage. It's something that you just pick RAM and then load it into there and then analyze it. In that RAM, you could actually find a lot of information that can actually even help you close your case. For network forensics, of course, Wireshark comes in handy. There's a very good tool I normally use called Network Miner. Very, very good tool. It's less than 5 MB, but very powerful. Network Miner. For database forensics, of course, here you're going to use a plethora of so many other. You should actually have some database skills on how maybe there's different tables that are within the database and being able to collect them. I normally use MySQL Workbench, especially if you've dumped a database for a particular from a particular database server. It should be able to read that DB for you as though it was on the production system. There are quite a number of tools. In digital forensics, actually, we always told that for you to confirm that what actually you're having is the actual evidence, you can run that evidence in multiple tools, 2, 3, for you to be able to verify or validate that information. There's an issue of people using open source tools, especially when it comes to court, because they'll think that since it's an open source tool and its code is out there for everyone actually to see and even update, you could have actually tweaked that open source tool to give you the results that you're presenting, because it is possible. So that's why open source tools are still having an issue, a long way to go when it comes to digital forensics and presentation in court. When we meet, I should be able to give you some others. I have so many tools.
Thank you for that. I'm sure you already shared some of them with me during the class. Other than that, thank you so much for coming and being part of this podcast. I'm sure I called you several times to make this event possible. but yeah, we are able to make it. So other than that, check out Bernard Ainutre's episode, which is episode 5. Apart from that, because also Bernard is also in forensics. Other than that, I'll see you all in the next episode.